Why is Jungkook always silent when asked about his family? Is it true that he was ostracized by his own parents? And is it true that his father is the figure he has always wanted to avoid? In an emotional confession that was finally revealed after a long time, Jungkook's family's secret left ARMY speechless and asked, who really hurt the golden magne so that he chose to be silent and away from the world? Why does Jungkook always shy away when asked about his family? Jungkook's shocking confession. Family's secret revealed after years of silence. Can a Jungkook cry because the family that is supposed to be the safest place becomes a source of wounds that he cannot heal? Have you ever seen a constructed smile? Is there a dark side behind the calm gaze of an almost perfect idol? All these questions began to surface, echoing like a silent echo among Jungkook's heavy-handed measures now serving his military service. But this time, not about the song, not about the concert, and not about the comeback. It's about a secret that's too painful to tell, even to himself. ARMY around the world has known Jungkook as a calm, closed person, but full of love for fellow BTS members. Yet there is one thing that is always an invisible boundary in every interview, in every speaking opportunity: family. Every time his name is juxtaposed with the words father or mother, Jungkook's face seems to change. There is such a strong suppression of emotions. There was a blank look that he never explained. Is this just speculation? Or is it an old wound that never heals? In recent months, a rumor has begun to grow among ardent fans and South Korean entertainment journalists. Rumors say that Jungkook's relationship with his family is not as harmonious as the public has thought. Even more than that, he was reportedly sidelined by his parents. A term that is not kidding, especially if it is aimed at the youngest child who is known to be talented and brings the big name of the family on the world stage. But why does Jungkook never argue? Why is he just silent? Some old videos are starting to come back. Moments when other BTS members spoke warmly about their families, while Jungkook simply smiled a little or turned the conversation away. Have we ever realized that it's not because he's shy, but maybe because he's too sick to talk about it? Then came the moment that was both awaited and feared. A voice recording leaked into the hands of one of the entertainment industry's most trusted sources. In the footage, the voice of a young man, believed to be Jungkook, is heard talking to a management staff member before his departure to the military camp. The voice sounded calm, yet heavy, and one sentence from him instantly made the whole room speechless. "I need some alone time. Don't let anyone from my family come, especially my father." Why does that sentence feel like an emotional outburst that has been buried for years? What exactly happened? Some of the staff who knew Jungkook personally began to raise their voices, of course, without mentioning their names. One of them said that before his mandatory military departure, Jungkook had experienced a serious emotional breakdown. He reportedly turned down all advertising offers, interviews, and even solo projects. The reason? He wants to calm his mind from the shadows that have always followed since childhood. The shadows is his own family. As this news began to spread secretly, many tried to seek answers directly from Jungkook. As usual, he chose silence. He refused all media requests. He avoids family gatherings. There are even reports that while in the military camp, Jungkook deliberately did not register family members for regular visits, something that is usually highly valued by young soldiers. Is it true that Jungkook is only a golden child in the eyes of the world, but not in the eyes of his own family? According to a source close to HYB, a longtime BTS staffer, Jungkook once said, "The family that should be the place to come back is where I lost my way." The sentence was never confirmed directly, but the emotion that emanated from Jungkook's tone in every interview made it difficult to refute the sentence. Then who's wrong? Is his father, who is now rumored to be trying to re-establish a relationship but continues to be rejected? Or are the old wounds so deep that Jungkook feels the relationship is impossible to restore? Until now, the ARMY continues to search for clues. Some began to recall the early days of BTS's debut, when Jungkook reportedly stayed with managers and other members longer than others. When others have a homecoming moment, Jungkook spends more time in the studio. Is it just dedication? Or is it a form of escape from something painful? There has been no immediate clarification from the family. But their silence only reinforced public suspicion. The most emotional moment was when Taeil once said in a live broadcast, "I feel grateful to have a family that I can hug at any time." And when the camera panned Jungkook's face, he just laughed a little, then looked out the window. Not a word, he said. But her tears almost fell. What makes Jungkook not able to say the word father as lightly as everyone else? What made him choose a military camp as a place to heal himself? And why now? Why is this secret only open now? There is a theory among fans that Jungkook deliberately kept all these injuries so as not to interfere with the group's achievements. He knows how important emotional stability is in the course of BTS's career. But now, as the members go through their mandatory military service and focus on their personal lives, this may be the only time he can breathe for himself. Unfortunately, not all wounds heal with time. Sometimes, the deepest wounds come precisely from where they are supposed to be protective. From home. From the family. From someone he calls dad. If all this is true, will Jungkook still be able to forgive? Or is it just that he can still hope that there will be a family to welcome him home when all this is over? We may never know for sure what happened behind the walls of Jungkook's childhood home. But one thing is certain. Sometimes, a person's silence is not because there is no story, but because the story is too painful to repeat. And now, with all the hints, emotions, and deepening silence, ARMY can only ask, who exactly is Jungkook behind that grand stage? An idol? A wounded child? Or both? Behind the lights that were always on for Jungkook, there was never a single light that could truly illuminate the darkest side of his life. Everything about her is so transparent to fans, her training routines, eating habits, even her sleeping habits. But one thing remained hidden, locked tightly behind an emotional wall that even his own comrades could not penetrate: family. Jungkook always seemed happy when he was with the members, but one night, he didn't come back to the dorm, and when we asked, he said, "I just need some time alone." But I know it takes more than just time, one BTS staffer said on condition of anonymity. He seemed reluctant to speak, but his expression as he told the story seemed to imply that he kept the puzzle pieces that had been lost. Why would a child known for being so caring, humble, and affectionate be able to harbor such a large wound? Are rumors true that he was emotionally abandoned by his own family? A childhood friend of Jungkook, who once appeared in an old BTS documentary, once said, "Jungkook was an amazing kid a long time ago, but he's not a kid who talks a lot about home. He often talks about music, dreams, or nightmares." Nightmares? Over time, the ARMY, known as the most loyal community, began to string together a common thread of information fragments. They begin to dive into every word, every move, every song Jungkook has ever sung, hoping to find the hidden meaning in it. And one of the songs that is now widely discussed is the song "Still With You." In the song, Jungkook conveys longing and a sense of loss. However, there are not a few who interpret that it is not only about romantic love or about the loss of a best friend, but about the loss of a sense of belonging. "I'm walking in the lonely rain, though I'm sure you can't reach it." Is the "you" in the song not a fan, not a BTS member, but his own father? And the question becomes even more sinister. Is the father still worthy of being called dad in Jungkook's life? Another source who works as a therapist at a private psychological rehabilitation center in Seoul revealed that one of the big artists had undergone in-depth counseling sessions for almost 2 years due to family trauma. He did not give a name, but described the figure of the artist as a young singer with great pressure and wounds that come from the people closest to him. Is that Jungkook? If yes, then we're not talking about ordinary problems. We're talking about the inner devastation experienced by a child from parents who are supposed to be protectors. In an old interview, Jungkook once said, "I want to be a better father if one day I have children." The phrase may sound familiar to some, but when spoken in a low voice, accompanied by a bitter smile and a blank look, it turns into an inaudible scream. Why does Jungkook need to assert that he wants to be better? Is it because there was a figure in his past who was never good enough? There is one story that has never been picked up by the big media. A small incident happened while BTS was filming in Busan, Jungkook's hometown. At that time, the members had stopped by a small restaurant that was said to be close to Jungkook's childhood home. But the interesting thing is, Jungkook refused to enter. He stayed in the car, just looking out the window, and said quietly, "I don't feel like I have a place here anymore." The sentence was recorded by an interna. This question, seemingly simple, opens the door to a reality darker than anyone has ever imagined. In the world of K-pop that is so bright and glamorous, very few realize that behind Jungkook's warm smile, there is a dark space that he locks tightly. And that space is called family. Why isn't there a birthday post on social media? Why are there no family moments that are shared publicly, while his colleagues in BTS have even taken their parents to the stage, to events, to concerts? At BTS, last concert before the military service, all the members gave warm greetings to their parents, except Jungkook. He just lowered his head, stared blankly at the audience, then said an ambiguous phrase, "Thank you for ever believing in me since I was nobody." Is that for the army? A member of BTS? Or a silent appeal to someone who chose not to trust him at the beginning of his career path? What made it all the more astonishing was when one of South Korea's senior entertainment journalists revealed in an unscripted podcast that for more than a decade of covering BTS, he had never once met or been interviewed by a member of Jungkook's family. We once tried to find out his family background for the purposes of a BTS profile documentary. All data is complete except Jungkook. No family photos. No old home address can be verified. No father's name has ever officially appeared, the journalist revealed. Is this just an extreme privacy issue, or is there really something Jungkook wants to erase from his life history? An inside source from an agency that Big Hit had previously worked with even claimed to have heard directly from a longtime manager that Jungkook would rather stay in a dorm during a long vacation than return home. He always said, "I'm more comfortable here." But we know it's not about comfort, it's about security. But no matter how hard a person hides a wound, in the end it will seep out. And for Jungkook, it happened when he was drafted into the army. Many thought he would take the opportunity to strengthen himself, prepare for a comeback, or even design his next solo project. But the opposite is true. Jungkook withdrew. He declined any interview requests. No additional activity records. He reportedly did not even attend the private meetings that are usually held for idols during military holidays. Some refer to this as a media detox, but deeper ones refer to it as emotional isolation. A behavioral observer who saw footage of Jungkook in the military said, "His language is still polite. His body moves according to the rules. But his eyes showed resistance, not to the boss, but to the world." Is this the result of a childhood wound that never healed? And then, there were leaks from the military training environment that Jungkook explicitly requested not to be included in a unit that allows media documentation. He wants to be invisible. He wants to not be found. He wants to disappear, at least temporarily. Some call this a form of escapism. But an escape from whom? From the world? Or from the one name that keeps haunting him, his father? Some army began to conduct independent investigations. They searched for every piece of data, every lyric, every gesture of Jungkook that might lead to a hidden family life. And one lyric in the song, "My Time," became the focus of their attention. "I'm living in someone else's time. Have I become an adult? Why am I alone here?" The lyrics don't just refer to early fame, but it also describes a feeling of abandonment, of having no backup, and most heartbreaking of all, of being alone. Is this a reflection of a child who has to grow up without the warm embrace of his father? A fan even asked Jungkook Live, "Are you close to your father?" And the reaction? Jungkook laughed quietly, then turned the camera away and said, that kind of question, it's too personal." But it's not the words that make it stand out. It is precisely his bitter smile and drastically lowered tone of voice that become an alarm for anyone who pays close attention to him. Not just personal, but it hurts, and it's time for us to ask more sharply. Who is Jungkook's father? Why is it that the figure is almost never mentioned, never appears, never clarified? Was there something very dark, very painful, that was hidden all this time? Could it be that his father is the source of all Jungkook's trauma, loneliness, and need to build a new family through BTS and ARMY? And even more heartbreaking, if one day Jungkook were to stand on stage receiving the highest award of his life, To whom? Would he say, "This is for you"?